Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie, Deja, whatever y'all call me. Oh, gotta thank God for being alive another day. It's bad weather out there today. Let's see what the weather is. Hey, Alexa, what's the weather today here in Charlotte?
Currently, in Charlotte, it's 37 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect snowy, rainy weather with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 29 degrees.
Snowy weather. Hate rain and snowy weather. I don't like it. I can do the rain and I can do the snow by itself. Matter of fact, I love snow by itself. But when it's a mixture, I don't like it. So I really don't want to go out there today. Anyway, guys, today I wanted to talk about how I was taught a man is supposed to care for his family. Y'all know I was taught by elders, old people, and they had a way of doing things, Some of the things I agree with, and then there's some of the things I don't agree with. Like none of the women in my family drove. The men always drove. And that's something I don't agree with. I was the first first woman in my family to get a driver's license. Because none of them drove. They was like, for what? What I need to get a driver's license for? Because the man always drive. But I always felt, you might need to drive for any reason. And then God reassured that with me when I seen the movie, what it was it Sugar Hill? Is that the name of it? I can't remember. The one with Wesley Snipes and he met the girl and they was doing some stuff they wasn't supposed to. He didn't want to see her and he told her to take the car home. And she got out the car and saw them killing people and doing all kind of stuff. And he said, didn't I tell you to leave? And she said, but I can't drive. So that was like my reassurance to, is that the name of the movie? I can't remember it. But that was my reassurance to say, hey, get your driver's license because you never know when you're in a situation where you may have to drive. So, yeah, I got a driver's license. But, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, actually, having that driver's license. I've made so much money just having a driver's license. But we're going to just talk about how men are supposed to be with their wives, their girlfriends, And today is a little hard because, it's hard for one person to take care of a whole family and a whole household because bills are really high these days, But for the most part, if the husband is making the money or the maid is making the money, they're supposed to take care of the household, meaning pay the bills, while the woman keeps the house clean, make sure dinner's on the table, make sure he gets sexual activity when he needs it, making sure that he's comfortable at all times when he steps in his home. That's the way I was taught. Okay, my grandmother, as y'all know, my grandmother married a Cuban, and my grandfather took care of the family. Granted, he did pass away before she did, and he had a funeral home, so he was a mortician. So he dealt with a lot of those chemicals. So that's most likely what killed him. I wasn't born before he died, so I don't really know. But I heard the stories in the family about it. Anyway, long story short, my grandmother, as I watched her, because I by the grace of God, I was able to be with my great grandmother, and I watched her do things, and I knew she had money. Matter of fact, before she died, she gave us all bank books. Each and every one of us got handed a bank book before she left us. So whatever he gave her and, she saved it for the family, and she gave it all to us before she died. The point I'm trying to make now is he took care of everything. He took care of the family, you know. And that some of that money was his money too, you know. And this is why I personally, you know, I tell y'all about my people, because my people, they wasn't stingy people. You know what I mean? They wasn't stingy people. They were very good people. And even, like I said, before my grandmother passed away, she was giving us our grandfather's money. You know what I mean? And I'm going to always acknowledge my grandfather, even though I never got to meet him. You know, I got to meet his sisters. One of his sisters, actually, she lived in the same building with us on 147th Street. You know, she lived in the first apartment on the first floor. We lived on the second floor, me and my mom, and then my grandmother lived on the third floor. And we in the same apartment, but on different floors. In 530 West 147th Street, for people that didn't know us. But anyway, getting back to, because I'm taking this to my family, you know, but I'm just thinking about them, you know. This is the way, you know, my grandmother raised me, you know. You have to be a good housekeeper, you know, no drama, you know. This is the way they raised me. So, meaning good housekeeper, meaning care for your house, make sure your stuff is organized, keep everything clean, you know. This is the way she trained me, you know, her and my grandma Doris. You know, God bless both of their souls. Because I was raised by them until they died. And then, you know, my mother was there and my aunt. And they raised me to, how can I say it? Know how to feel secure and feel beautiful. You know, even though you're that person at home, not going out much because you're cleaning and keeping the family right. You know, they taught me how to do all of that. Okay, granted, I didn't go that route in life because a lot of the men, by the time I got grown, a lot of the men wasn't into that. They're not into just totally taking care of families, you know. Well, but I can't say that, because my second husband, he was that husband that would come home, you know. Shout out to Mark Richardson, even though we're not married anymore. He would come home, or I would come to his job, you know. Matter of fact, we both worked at Bronx Lebanon, and he would hand me his whole check. You know, he'd say, we'll go. I'll never forget it. I would pick him up on his lunch break, because he worked the night shift. Was it the night shift? Not the night shift, the 7 to 11. And I would go there about 6, take him to, no, not 6. I can't remember what time I used to go there, but I would go to the hospital, pick him up, and we would go to the check cash. He would cash the check, and he'd put the whole check in my hand. And he'd say, pay the bills. And I said, okay. And I said, you don't want none of it? And he's like, no, pay the bills. And he was a little older than me, you know, but I understood that this is how he was raised as well, you know. So I was like, okay, he must be raised like the men that my grandmother used to talk about, you know, that you pay the bills, honey, and don't worry about me. I just make sure our bills is paid. I want to make sure I got, when it all falls, I want to make sure I got a roof to come home to, you know. And I would take the money and go pay the bills, you know. And I had money because I was working too. He would never ask me for a penny. Not 1 cent. You hear me? And I was like, I was feeling this life, you know. But there was a kicker that I couldn't adjust to. He felt like he can do anything he wanted to do. Okay? Including cheat. And that was not my way of life. Okay? And I understood that, you know, he was paying all the bills. I understood that. But when you're married, okay, you do it in God's eyes, and you do it on paper for the government. You're not supposed to cheat. Okay, so I had a big thing about that. We will always get into that battle or that fight. You know, so I had to really let that go because it was either I sit back and reap the benefits of the fruits of the marriage, meaning my husband taking care of me, and I don't have to work for real or do anything, and deal with his cheating, okay, him coming in whenever he felt like it, but my bills is paid, I just couldn't do that. That's not for me. Then my son's father, he was another one. Okay, he was another one that he paid all the bills. I didn't want for anything. I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. He paid every single bill in the house. And I was thankful. So I said, okay, this is how he was brought up as well. You know what I mean? And my son's father came before my husband. So, before my second husband. So God was showing me this is the life I really want you to live, Granted, we didn't work out, it wasn't because he was cheating and stuff like that. We just didn't work out, I don't know, I can't really speak on it, and he would probably kill me if I did, but he was a good man, you know what I mean? And he knew when he came through the door, what his job was to do, and that was to take care of the family, and he did that, so shout out to him, and there's still a lot of men out here like that, where they don't want their wives or their girlfriends working. They want them to stay at home because they don't feel like the streets are good for them. They want to protect them, You stay home, I give you whatever you need, And now I'm running into these people where these men that want you to have more money than them. And then if they do have more money than you, they don't want to take care of you. This is what I'm seeing out here today. So it's like a total different story on how these men are perceiving families, If you're a man and you're making good money and you can pay every bill in the household, including your car note, her car note, the car insurance, the phone bills, give it to her. Let her cater to you. Okay? I know y'all heard that song by Beyonce, I'ma cater to you. That's because her husband or her man went out and did what he needed to do to get the money. And when he come home, she's catering to him. Okay? She's giving him his slippers. She's giving him his dinner. She's making sure the bathtub is clean so he can take his bath or shower, or whatever the case may be. She's done her job as a wife. So he gets the right to be catered to. Now, you can't be catered to if you're not doing your part. You can't expect a woman to always cook for you or to make sure your surroundings is the way you want it to be if you're not doing your part. It all plays a part. Okay? That stuff is in the Bible, y'all. It's not like we make this stuff up. You know what I mean? Oh, who making the rules? God made the rules. Okay? This Bible was created before I was born. Before some of you was born. And they left it here for us to have an instruction booklet to life, and learn how to do things the proper way, so everybody will be happy and live long lives. However, these guys today and some of these women today, they want to make up their own rules, and it just don't work that way, I don't know exactly where it is in the Bible, but go ask a minister. They've been to school for being a reverend. They know where it's at. They'll tell you. And that's another thing. Now, if you notice, most minister wives, they do not work. They bear the children, take care of the home, take care of them children, and their husband. And their husband goes out there and get the money. Okay? It's in there. So where do y'all get out, with this supposed to be 50-50 thing? Oh, granted, we know, like I said, once again, we know that it's hard for a man to actually pay all the bills today because it is kind of difficult with the way things are, financially in the world. So it is kind of hard today. But then if you feel like it's hard, then go to school, get another job, do what you got to do to follow the way of God, because that is the way of God. You don't deny your family of anything, okay, especially when they're there for you. That's not the way it works. God didn't design it that way. So God is watching. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not saying, I'm going to use my son for instance. I love my boy so much. He said, Mom, I don't want no kids and I don't want no wife until I'm able to fully take care of her. Because that's the way of the Bible. That's the way. He doesn't want that responsibility until he know he can fulfill God's needs. So I'm so proud of him for thinking that way. Granted, we make mistakes. Sometimes, kids have babies young and you don't know what route to go because you young and just getting life started. But you make that, you make a way. Meaning, if you have kids, okay, well, I got kids now. Let me go to school. Let me get a trade. Let me get a degree, so I can go out here and be able to make enough money for my people, for my family, and she can stay home and take care of the kids and make sure my kids are safe at all times. They talk about, oh, this is the way the white people do it. Now, I want to talk about this as well, I'm tired of hearing that these white people are privileged, okay? I'm so tired of hearing it, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all why. It's not that white people are privileged. Y'all are the ones that keep putting them on a pedestal. Okay? The difference is, no, first I'm gonna go into the facts of things. Who's privileged in this country is the Native Americans. Those are the ones that's privileged. Okay? Those are the ones that can own casinos, okay, that make millions and millions of dollars a year. Okay? Those are the ones that's privileged. Now, I need y'all to do y'all history. I get tired of hearing our black people constantly talk about stuff that they don't know the facts upon. Okay? The reason why white people look privileged is because they try to do things the right way. Okay? That's why they look privileged. But if black people did things the right way, you would be privileged as well. Okay? They pay their bills. They build their credit. They take care of their families. Sometimes the parents, they stay together. Ain't no, you break it up, you going this way, I'm going that way. I mean, granted, they have some. But for the most part, they stay together to raise their children. Okay? It don't be all that bickering and arguing. We can't do this. No, I don't like you. I'm going to court. None of that. Okay? The father comes, brings his money. If he's not there, takes his kids, see his kids. The woman accepts if he gets another woman and don't start all the drama. Okay? They may have a baby young. The husband will do whatever he needs to do. Even if they had to live with the parents at first, they would go out, get an education, get a job to fit the family, get their family a house, that house with that white picket fence. Now, as far as I've always been told, and I've seen it, black men, black women are stronger. So why is it they can't do the same thing and be privileged? Because that's the only thing that makes you privileged in this country. Is having good credit, that house with that white picket fence, and taking care of your children the proper way. That's the only thing that makes you privileged. That skin don't make you privileged. By the way, they can punch up your name and see your resume is what makes you privileged. They call me a white girl. I'm not white. I love the skin I'm in. But at times I can be privileged too. And it's because I try to do things the right way. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has to do with your resume and how you do things. Granted, I still hold that black mom mentality. If my kids is acting up, I'm going to tear their tail up. And they know it. And they see why. Because they bad as I don't know what. But I still hold that privileged title with black skin. Black skin that's not only native skin, but Hispanic skin as well. So stop the white people are privileged thing. Please, people. You put yourself on that pedestal where people will respect you even with the color of your skin, by the way you treat them. Okay? That's the way it works in 2021. Now, what happened back yonder? My grandmother was black as I don't know what. Well, I'm saying black as skin tone. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying she's black. And she was privileged. In Harlem, privileged. Just like a white person. Okay? So y'all can't tell me that because of the color of your skin, they're so privileged. And my grandmother, they didn't even own a home, but they ran a family. They migrated from Florida and made their mark and made their name. And when my grandmother walked through Harlem, she was respected by blacks and whites. Y'all see the pictures where she taking pictures with white people because she was respected and privileged. So what make them so much better than us? We're all human beings. This is a mark that my grandmother always told me. She said, we all breathe the same air and we bleed the same blood. They ain't no different from us. And I've always held that. I've always held that. And I'll never forget when she said that to me. We was on the Amtrak on our way to Washington, D.C. Okay? And she said that to me because this white man said something to her and she jumped up. My grandmother, she was one of those, she cut you in a minute. You know, she didn't care about going to jail. She didn't care. She just had that fire in her. That Tampa fire. Okay? Because she was from Tampa, Florida. So somebody say something to her, she'd snap on them fast. And she sat me down there in that little chair, that little seat. And I was looking out the window and she said, let me tell you something, Jackie. And I'll never forget it. She said, They might breathe the same. We know she said they breathe the same air we breathe, and they bleed just like we bleed. Don't you ever be afraid of a white man. And I just looked at her. So I had to learn what she was telling me. Okay? Why was all these people such afraid of these white people? Why? And then as I grew and I saw how I lived, and I'm like, okay. Granted, I grew up in a household, a house, a home, I've never lived in the projects, but I lived around them. So it was like I lived in the projects. I didn't see it. I didn't see the white mistreating the blacks until I got grown enough to work on my own. And then I seen it. Okay? However, I told myself from that point, and I made it known that this particular person that gave me, okay, I'm going to tell you the story. Y'all know that I used to work for, well, I don't know if all y'all know, I used to do home care. Okay, and I worked for Christian Community. And it's this white lady that lived in Jackson Projects. Okay, she was Irish. And she spit on me. Okay. I went and told my boss, and I wanted to snap, y'all. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. If I could have choked that lady, I would have. You know what I mean? But I called my company and I told them what happened. And it was like, okay, that's her second attempt. Because she's done some crazy stuff before. So that didn't make her privileged. Because she was getting ready to be terminated from services. Okay? So you got to actually see these things that go on before you start talking about people are privileged. Now we're getting into because at one point, they start looking at us, the way we dress. Because, black people, we have this thing where we express ourselves through our clothing. The way we, wear our clothing and they start looking at us as being thugs and all these different things because we wear this, we wear that, And, like I was laughing at somebody. I forgot who it was I was laughing at. And they was talking about how I'm supposed to dress my age. And dressing my age to me is putting on a pair of sneakers, some sweatpants, and I'm gone. Okay? When I feel like putting on a Sunday dress, I can do that too. But I'm not going to put on a Sunday dress every single day. Okay? And I will continue to pile the sneakers up if I could afford it. Because they comfortable. Okay? Look at my mom. She was in her 60s, still wearing Timbs. She liked the field boots, though. She wasn't into the constructions too much, but she was into the field boots. This is what we do, And we want to really get dressed. We get dressed, That's how we express ourselves. Even my grandmother back in the day, this woman had a whole bedroom. That was her closet. And when she got dressed, she got dressed. This is what we do, okay? Getting back to the privilege thing. Like I said, it doesn't sit with me well because I've seen a lot, and y'all need to stop saying it. You can be privileged as well, okay? Mm-hmm. Live your life accordingly. Meet the people that you need to meet and be around to be privileged, okay? That's the way it works, people. You pay your bills. You don't go to jail. You don't be out here robbing, stealing, killing, and all this other stuff. Okay? You put some notches under your belt. If life got hard for you, they say, okay, well, you did this, you did that, you did that, he did that, he did this. Well, life is just hard for you right now. We got to, try to help you through this. But then that don't mean you go acting a fool because life is hard for you. Because now they're still looking at you. And that goes on your resume. Okay? So these are things you got to look at. People, I'm not talking about a resume that you take to a job. I'm talking about your life resume. Who are you? Where you come from and who are you? I made this song called You Don't Know About Me. And I talk about certain things in my life in that song. And the reason why I made that song is because people try to ridicule me because of other people's bad doings. Because I knew them, because I had affiliation with them. They thought that I was the same way they were. Okay? And I had to explain to people, and I shouldn't have to do this. Because I know my resume. And people know my resume. But then you got some that don't know my resume. And those be the ones that's always pointing the finger and trying to judge you. And they know nothing about you for real. You know what I mean? And then you laughing at them like, you a dummy. But then you want to sit back and talk about, oh, I'm spoiled or I'm privileged, I'm this and I'm that. That's because you don't know my resume. If you learn my resume, you'll understand why. Okay? It has nothing to do with having power of, how can I explain it? You know how they say, okay, like when you get into the industry, in the music industry, they say you have power. I had power before I got into the music industry. It had nothing to do with the entertainment industry. It had to do with the way I carried myself, the way I did things. All the awards I worked for. These companies are not going to lie about my performances and how good of a person that I am. Okay, and these are the things that you have to look at when you're starting to call somebody else privileged. Let me tell you something. I had this white man at Frito that hated me. He hated me, y'all. He was one of my superiors. And I knew he hated me. And the thing about it is because I was the one he always came to for me to bail him out. It'd always be the ones that's closer to you. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this story. I got sick one day. All right? Because I used to work every day. I never took a day off of work. Okay? I would go to work even when I was sick and they'd have to send me home. Because they'd be like, oh, you don't look good. You go home. But I got sick. And I had to go to the hospital. They had to give me some juice. I call it juice. Meaning give me an IV. Because I got dehydrated and wore my body down. And I was kind of getting used to it. The athletes go through it, so I was kind of getting used to it. Oh, all right, y'all just need to give me some juice. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling better. Okay, I'm going home and rest 2 days and I'll be all right. And then it always worked every time. Okay. So I was like, okay, so this is the remedy for this one. I just needed to be hydrated. But when he went out there to cover my area, my route, he saw some things, And those things was, where's Jackie? Is she okay? Not from one, not from two, not from just the store managers, but even the customers. Okay? And he called me on the phone and he's like, Jackie, you're like a star out here. You're a celebrity out here. And I'm like, and this is in the city of Baltimore, y'all. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know. He was like, all these people care about is you. I said, okay. I care about them too. That's why I be out there putting their chips out there and making sure the stores look good and do what I got to do. His attitude changed towards me. Because he didn't like the way not only did the black people treat me, but the white people treat me too. Oh, he didn't like it. He hated it. Okay. So I went to him and I said, Frito-Lay is one of those companies that will pay for you to finish college, so you can upgrade in their company. And I said to him, I'm ready. I'm ready to go back to school, because right now my route, I had ran my route for 3 years. Once you run your route for a certain amount of time, you're not going to find no more money out of that route. You know what I'm saying? So you had stuck at that, until they revise the routes. So I said, okay, well, I'm working now. I'm making enough money to survive on, but I'm getting off of work really early. I was coming home at 2:00, at this point. And I'm going to get to work at 6 and go home by 2 because I got my route so down packed to where I know every customer, everything they buy. I know everything. So I said, I'm ready to go to school. I said, I'm going to go to school at night and, work during the day. He denied me. And it was because of hatred. Because he didn't like the love that I got when I was out there. He didn't even like that his people, meaning he was superior of us, okay? And his people will call me before they call him. Hey, Jack, can you help me with this? Blah, 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 blah. I got you. I'm on my way. But he didn't know we did it for each other. Okay? It wasn't just, because how I found out that he was upset about that, we had a meeting. And one of my colleagues came in and said, Jack, did you take care of such and such for me? And I was like, yeah, I got you. I took care of it. It was like, okay. He looked like, what is all of this about? And I just looked at him and I was like, oh, he needed me to go to the store and deal with this manager because this manager was out of whack. I have a way of dealing with people, and people take to me well, even if they can be the meanest person. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's my aura or what it is, that I was blessed with. But sometimes when people can't deal with somebody, they'll call me, because I have that, I guess, calming attitude. I don't know what it is. And that's what happened. He called me up and he was like, this manager is really getting on my nerves and I can't take it no more. And I told our colleague and he's doing nothing. I told our superior, he's doing nothing about it. So Jackie, can you help me out on this? And I said, I got you. So I went to the store, and I talked to the manager and I said, well, what do you need? Talk to me. You know what I mean? So he talked to me and, we squared everything away. I said, okay, well now when my colleague come back, I'm going to let him know that this is what you're asking for. This is what you need. I was able to get out what he needed from Frito-Lay. Okay. And, he was furious. I'm talking about my superior now. He was furious. Like, now she's trying to take my job. No, I'm not trying to take your job. He asked you to help him and you didn't. And he knew I could do the job. So that's why he called on me. Because he was tired. He was frustrated. And he knew I would be able to handle it. So, I got a lot of hatred from his colleagues. This is why he didn't want to allow me to upgrade myself, and I wound up going ahead and get a business and wound up leaving them. But I could have still got what was deserving of me. And I was finishing my college degree, and it hurt me. You don't realize how bad he hurt me and my family by being so hated instead of loving me just like everybody else did. Because he felt like I was privileged. Do you get it? So, and this was a white man. Okay, I don't say no names. I'm not throwing no names out there because I don't want them attacking him in Baltimore or none of that. You know what I'm saying? Or breaking into his home. This is why I'm not speaking his name. But yes. He felt like I was privileged and he was white and I was black. Okay? So I just want y'all to understand that it's not about the color of your skin. It's how you carry yourself. The things that you do, your credit report reflects who you are as well. Okay? So it's a lot of things that they look at to make you that top of the line type of person. You have to work on that. Instead of saying the next person is privileged. I had to tell that to this guy in the store the other day. And he was like, it was funny because it had one line that was open, one line with 2 Hispanic people, and it was another line with all these black people. Now, black people here in Charlotte don't like to be around the Hispanic people. I don't understand why, because we all black. Okay, so he didn't know I was Hispanic as well. So the line was open for me. And he was like, well, I said, you want to come over here? And he was like, I said, because this line is empty and you're on that line, you know. And he's like, no, this is the black line. I said, oh, so this is the Hispanic line? I said, okay, well, I fit right in. I said, I could get on either line, huh? I said, because I'm black and Hispanic. And he just looked at me. I said, but I'll go roll with the Hispanics over here because the line is shorter. That's what I told him, you know. So they feel like the Hispanics are privileged. Okay? So, I was laughing because kind of we are, to a certain extent. But that's because we do things the way we're supposed to. Not all Hispanics, though. Not all. Okay? Just like not all whites. Just like not all blacks. But they go to work. They try to do what they're supposed to do to make ends meet. If they have to put 10 people in the household to maintain, they will. Stand by their families. So that's why America respects them. They do whatever they have to do to make it. And still take care back home. Okay? And will stand and fight to the death for their people. So that's kind of why they're privileged, okay? But y'all look at the black people. They constantly going against each other, pointing the finger. Oh, they privileged, this is why I ain't got this. Oh, they this is why I ain't got that. They this because I ain't got this. You could be privileged too. You got to make yourself privileged. Put that work in. Why do you think the slaves was given to the white man? Because best to believe there was some slaves that was given to black people too. That was privileged. Meaning they had a home. Okay? That white picket fence home. Had a car. Okay, so you could use a few slaves. You got any money? We know you got some money up in there. We see the money. Whether y'all know it or not, there was some black slaves that was sold off to black people too. Okay? So don't, like I said, don't constantly say white people are privileged because it's not true. It's not true. Even though this podcast was, about the mate taking care of their family, y'all got the gist of that. Y'all can read the Bible and get the information on that. But y'all can also read the history books and get the information on that as well. Come on, black people have created almost everything out here. Okay? Do your research. It's just that the white man might have had a little bit more money to put it out. They love our minds. Stop saying that these people are privileged. Y'all so happy we had a black president, President Obama. Okay, now we got a black vice president. Okay. Now, she's native. She's privileged. Okay. Obama, on the other hand, I don't know. They say he might be native as well. I don't know. I got to do my research on that. But the fact still remains, they did what they needed to do to get there. Okay? It's not that it can't be done. They did what they needed to do to get there. They knew their mission. And they stuck by it until they got there. It's not because the white people are privileged. This is Jacqueline Richardson. Miss JJ Diamond. Jackie, Deja, whatever y'all call me. I want to see y'all working on y'all goals. I want to see y'all working so y'all get where y'all need to be. And stop pointing the finger at others and think about you. God says, take care of you. Okay? Put him first. Take care of you. I love y'all all, and I'll talk to y'all on Monday. Y'all have a